Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy. Decided to make another video because I haven't uploaded one in a short while. Life has been very hectic. For those who don't know, I started my business, Seraphic Sound Spiritual Healings. If you don't know that, I'll link it below. Basically, if you're after a reading or a healing or some spiritual or self-development mentoring or something like that, feel free to hit me up. There's lots of free resources on there. I do like the YouTube stuff. I do the podcast stuff. I have a free group called the Seraphic Sound Spiritual Healing and Development Awaken Your Soul. I think along those lines. I'll link it below for you to join. But, knuckling down and making as much content as possible. And in saying that, I thought I'd do a video to do with manifestation because I feel it's really important. This is one of the main things that I teach. And one of like a super easy way to kind of do this is journaling. Like journaling is one of the best techniques that you can do. It's where I start with every single person that I start helping or that come to me or ask me for any advice. I say, start with journaling. And the reason I say journaling is because the best way to kind of imagine this, and I know that a lot of people would think that like journaling is, something that is, I guess like very feminine or something like that. But, I think I've stated before, I have literally a stack of journals with the last probably 6 years of my life documented in it, which every single one is dated, so I can go back to any point at any point of my life over the last 6 years and read back to where I was, and it just lets me have a lot of, allows me to reflect. It allows me to have a lot of, what's the word for it, like a lot of pride in how far that I have come and looking back at not just where I was personally, but even like emotionally and where I was in my maturity too. It's just a very good thing to have. And the way that journaling works, the way that I like to explain it, is that we have this super, super hectic, powerful processor called our brain, which documents everything that we do. It allows us to interact with the physical world and to think things, to believe things, to come out with our own thoughts, to be creative. And it logs everything that we ever experience. And, the thing is about that is that for you to be able to work optimally, you need your brain to work optimally. And that means keeping it clean, like having, good hygiene with your mind, so to speak. And so when I talk about the journaling, the way I like to think of this is like if you take a brain and you consider it to be like the equivalent of a computer or a hard drive that stores all the information, and the more information you store in there, the slower it's going to run because it has so much stuff to process all the time. Whereas if you think of a journal as essentially being, as you think of a journal as being an external hard drive for your mind, when you actually like write pen to paper, there's obviously like the biological stimuli that happens when you write things down. It helps with your memory a lot more. But writing down the things about your day, the ways that you're feeling, maybe some of the dramatic stuff that you're going through, some of the stressful stuff you're going through, some of the things that you want to address, some of your traumas, some of your insecurities, all that kind of stuff. When you have the ability to write this down on paper and free yourself of having to think about it all the time, the best way that I kind of like to explain it is like you're taking all these thoughts from your head and you're putting them somewhere. You're putting them somewhere that you can actually go back to and reflect on. And once they're elsewhere, it frees your mind up from having to hold on to them because it knows that it has them logged somewhere else. So this is why I really emphasize the importance of journaling, because it allows you to be open with yourself. It also allows you to start a dialogue with your own self. It takes the ego out of the equation because if you've watched any of my stuff, I talk about the various portions of the self. So we're talking about there's the ego, which is the self that interfaces with physical reality. Then you've got your conscious self, which is the one that has the thoughts in your brain. Then you have your subconscious self, higher self, entity, all that kind of stuff. But your ego and your conscious self are kind of like the two main ones that are important to master in our human experience, because they're the two leading sources of what we do. So you have your conscious self, which is the one who has the thoughts, and you have your ego, who's essentially the one who acts them out. And, a lot of the time, the ego can get overwhelmed with things. It thinks a bit too much. It tries to be a bit too rational when in reality, we are psychic beings. We are, here to have a human experience. We've incarnated into physical reality to experience a human experience. And because of that, like, we're not necessarily physical beings at our core. We're actually multidimensional beings who have manifested and projected our consciousness into physical reality, into physical form, into the flesh as humans. And so a lot of the time the ego likes to rationalize things, and it gets a bit kind of out of control and crazy trying to make sense of things. But the truth is that we're all very, very intuitive creatures. Just for example, like excitement, love, fear, joy, all of these things are intuitional, emotional feelings that we all have. And, a lot of the time, these are the things that we want to work with, because these are our greatest guides toward fulfillment and purpose. And so going back to journaling, when we do start journaling and we enter that flow state in writing the word and being connected to our mind rather than everything else that's going on, it allows you to be a lot more honest with yourself. It allows you to be a lot more free with yourself, and it frees you from a lot of the judgment. Now, one of the things I always recommend as well is to never let anyone read your journal. Lock it, hide it, put it somewhere else where no one is going to find it, because the moment you feel like someone is actually going to like find your journal and read it and have a proper peek into how crazy your mind is, you stop being completely honest with yourself with the content that you make or the things that you write. There are certain mental avenues a lot of the time that you do have to explore. You have to explore those ugly thoughts. You have to explore those sinister feelings that you have, because all the pain that you feel, all the hatred that you feel, all of the anger that you feel, at its core, it will always lead you back to love, and it'll lead you back to understanding, because any hatred or anger that you feel is actually a reflection of yourself. And it's often, a lot of the times, again, a projection of your own fears or your own angers or your own insecurities about yourself. So being able to explore why you feel angry or how you feel toward other people or the way that things make you feel, and write these down and have them and explore these subjects without the judgment of yourself or anyone else is super important. So highly recommend it. I don't have one with me, but just a normal A5 journal book with some lines in it. Go buy one. It'll cost you $3 or $4, maybe $2, maybe $1, maybe 50 cents. Just go get one. Get a pen that you like and start journaling. Date when you do it. Write it down. Just start exploring yourself, because people get so caught up in just trying to distract themselves from everything. People, it's so weird. Like, I talk to people about meditation, and, there are people out there who have never meditated before. And it blows my mind, because as someone who, meditates, or at least tries to meditate for about an hour every day, it's become such an important process in my life, along with, exploring the dream state and journaling and, just spending so much time analyzing myself and being critical, that it blows my mind that there are people who don't do this whatsoever. And so if you're trying to find a way to actually get into meditation or start exploring these spiritual subjects, journaling is a super good way to do it, because it allows you a physical, familiar way to kind of express yourself. And over time, you'll find yourself being able to utilize kind of like the exercise of journaling without having to journal. And you'll be able to, analyze your thoughts a lot more, with a lot more clarity. So that's a quick one. Again, when you start writing your thoughts down, you start writing your desires down, when you start writing down the things that matter to you, things will start presenting themselves to you a lot more. Things will begin to make a lot more sense, and you'll be able to just analyze your life in such a more practical way, rather than always having so much nonsense going on in your brain where you can't focus on the things that matter. So thanks for watching this video. It's just a quick one, still over 9 minutes. When I start talking, it goes very quickly. But again, I'm going to link my group down below. Feel free to join it. That's where I kind of post more of my spiritual based stuff to do with the business, any resources that I have. If you're in Melbourne, I also do quite a few. We have a nature connection ceremony that we often do, and lots of other stuff, guided meditations, all this kind of stuff. So feel free to join, follow all the socials, and yeah, thanks for watching. And I'm going to get back to making lots more content. Sorry for having a blocked nose. I've just come back from getting mild food poisoning and my body is not happy with me. Anyway, Thanks for watching. I've been Brendan, and cheers. Goodbye.